Welcome one, welcome all. This is it. After 2 months without racing, thanks to a global pandemic shutting down the doors of everybody in the virtual motorsport world, we reopen our doors and our hearts. Ultimate Virtual returns here, and we're at a circuit that will be familiar to those who looked at the original calendar. Estoril, one of the two circuits that has been retained for the final 8 races of the season. Of course, we had the normal calendar for the first 4, but a big old reshuffle as we get towards this later stint of the season. 8 races in 12 days. I hope you're looking forward to it, because I most certainly am. We've got the qualifying session underway here. It is raining in at the Circuit Estoril. And we'll have a look as the times have come in. Suicide in the Pappy Pops car, up in 3rd position. That will be an outstanding qualifying for the Frenchman. That will be really quite something. But we'll have to wait and see if that holds out. We've got 4 minutes or just under left in this session. It's very likely the rain could dry up. We could see some shootouts for pole position, or even some switches to the inters perhaps, and trying to get some faster time with more tread on the tyre. We have so much to catch up on, so let's get straight into it. The drivers' standings: Rito leads Sobel 44 to 41 points. Rito has scored points in every race so far this season, back-to-back podiums in Monaco and France. Sobel yet to get on the podium, BFX yet to win a race. Speaking of race winners, Meneke won the Malaysia Grand Prix, as well as a good point haul in Monaco, steads him 3rd in the standings. He was the championship leader previously. Grandi won at the last race at the Circuit Paul Ricard 2 months ago, and he sits 4th, currently ahead of his countryman Antti, who sits 5th place after a P2 and P3 in Malaysia and Monaco. Abtha won the first race of the season, yet to score any points since then, but he did well in the sprint. He's got 32 points this season already. Looking further down, we had Fox finish runner-up in a WTEC 1-2 early in the season opener at Adelaide. Kubo won the Monaco Grand Prix. He has not scored points in any other race. Uris sat on the podium in Malaysia. Goose sat on the podium at the Circuit Paul Ricard. Vladinator sat on the podium at Adelaide, and that is about it. Something to notice: Apple amazing points in every race so far this season. Very far down the standings still. Speaking of the standings, we've got the teams here for you. BFX leading the way. ThunderX down to 7th place. FVR just 19 points separate all of those teams in the mixer. 6 of them all vying for that runners-up spot as it stands, but BFX might just see their lead toppled. We'll see more of that as we have a look at the car rankings, because BAV should be doing really well, but they're not. They're down in 8th place. They've had a really poor start to the season. Pappy Pops have had a great revitalization with a huge consecutive points hauls from Suicide in recent races. That puts them 18 points ahead of the drop zone. For Zarocha, just 1 point, Andrin, in the last race. We are on lap 5 here, and Pappy has chanced it, and he's already pitted onto the soft compound tyre. We'll have to do the rest of the rundown after this, because we've got some drying up conditions, and it looks like all the drivers will have time to go out, set a nice outlap. Goose, actually, funny enough, pitted onto the inters, so that's an interesting call from him. But yeah, everyone will be going out onto these softs, and expect the lap times to get immediately faster, perhaps even on the outlap. But currently it's Sobel ahead of Urist. We'll follow the end of this qualifying session, and we'll have a look right after at the cars, the upgrades, the statistics, and everything you need to know about the tokens. So that should all be really interesting, something to keep in mind. And I'll repeat this as well, but drivers have been given 2 extra tokens, sprints have been removed, 2 extra races added in their place, and 2 extra tokens added to all the drivers' tallies, as Sobel adds to his repertoire with a great outlap there. But this could be it. This is the final chance. Potentially, you can see drivers already improving on their wet times by using the soft compound tyre, but its life is running out quick. Sobel on the flying lap needs to get round, particularly the very tricky double hairpin, but we'll follow the times of all of these drivers as they cross the line in order. Sobel on provisional pole position, Antti right next to him, just 200ths off in that super fast racing car, going super fast. Sobel comes round the final corner. Can he improve? He should do it by miles. Sets the fastest time. Can Uris beat that? No. Second. Abtha goes fastest. Ikolowski goes 4th. Meneke 3rd. Jaruni up to 6th. Antti up to 2nd place. Rito goes up to 4th. Can Kubo do anything? Yes, he goes up to 8th position. Suicide will jump to 10th. Then behind, we've got Kubo, I believe. No, we don't. Of course, sorry. We've got Pit Crew across the line. He went 12th place. Andrian, then Grandi, and we'll have a look at the rest of the drivers, because it's the final lap now and Sobel will just come out to close this qualifying session, but it's not going to be him on pole position. It will be the man from Russia in the WTEC car, Abver09, the first person to have won Journeyman League and come all the way up to Ultimate League. Sorry, wrong sport. Journeyman Virtual and come all the way up to Ultimate Virtual. We couldn't be more excited to have him. It is an absolute honour and a pleasure. And our race winner in Adelaide takes pole position here in Estoril. This should be an absolute thriller. We'll run you through the grid now. It's Abver by a healthy chunk, taking that pole position over Antti. A quarter of a second separates the A-named drivers. They'll share the front row together. On the second row of the grid, the BFXs line up. It's Sobel ahead of his teammate Rito, and he got a good margin on him. A lot of drivers just disturbed with their final laps. You can tell that from the pure gap that Sobel has to his teammate, nearly half a second in it. Rito ahead of Hetmenica, who was looking good in the wet pace, didn't quite have the same with the Porsche in the dry. He'll start 5th position ahead of Urus in 6th, and it's going to be Grandi, and Ikolowski starts 8th for British Aerial Virtual. Kubo will start 9th for Velocity, and Jaruni in 10th place. This is Velocity's final race, running that old livery before they switch it up to a brand new look for the remainder of the season, closing out the final 7 races. Looking further down the grid, Cado in the Fuerza Roja puts in an impressive P11 in qualifying. That's going to be one of their highest of all time. Pit Crew will qualify 12th ahead of Suicide in 13th, and Goose and Andrin, Amazing and Bloodinator, Fox, Andrews and Pappy rounds out your field for today. Andrews a disappointing 11 positions behind his teammate. Not good to see him all the way down there. We'll have a look at our team overview and car upgrades. BFX obviously still leading massively on points, we can see that, but on tokens they're starting to run out. Of course we've got ThunderX, PRG, BAV and the backmarker 2 teams have more tokens, as well as SFR and FVR with marginally more, VLO with the same number, but BFX have been nice and efficient on their points per token so far. We'll have to see how they continue to do so. They've lost a bit of ground in the development race this week. You can see they didn't get the upgrades that they wanted. BAV got acceleration, VLO got acceleration and grip, PRG got grip, acceleration and turbo. That's every stat but speed. Double turbo and speed for WTEC. They've put some good powertrain development in, and that's gotten them 0.8 of an index score up. No longer quite the back of the field, as they were starting to fall into the clutches of the likes of Papi Pops and Fuerza Roja just before the long COVID break. They've put some investment into the powertrain. Speed for FVR after 4 attempts, and then acceleration twice for ThunderX. Speed and acceleration for SFR. There's a speed for Fuerza as well, and acceleration and grip for Papi Pops Racing. Upgrades have been combined for today and tomorrow because of the Portuguese doubleheader taking place at Estoril and Lisbon. Meanwhile, we have a look at the tokens. We can cross-check how it looks. EK 8th place, but that is with 2 tokens spent. He's going to hope to make up some positions in the race, particularly in a car that is on paper the second fastest on the field. Sobel will spend 2 tokens. He'll start up in 3rd position. His teammate Rito spending none, just behind him. Quite impressive. Kubo spends none. He qualifies 9th. His teammate Urist with 4 tokens, only 6th fastest. Not terrible pace from the Velocity cars, but they'd be hoping for a little bit more in the race. Hetmenica with 3 tokens will be disappointed at only 5th place. He looked good earlier on. Amazing spending none, starts lower down the order. Abver spends 3. That gave him the pole position here today, and Fox's teammates starting a whopping, I believe it's something like, 17 places behind him. That is the effect of tokens versus no tokens for that WTEC team. Jaruni spent 2. He qualified 4 places ahead of his teammate Goose. Grandi spent none. Pit Crew spent 1, and that doesn't show actually. I think Grandi was in the top 10, was he? Might well have been. Yes, he was. He was P7. Pit Crew with a token, only P12. That's a bit of an anomaly. Then we're going to get Antti with 3 tokens spent. It's on the front row, so it's Antti and Abver, 3 tokens each. Both in pretty midfield cars. The SFR, if you look back at the team overview, definitely still the faster car by a little bit. It's a 4.1 for them, and it's a 3. Sorry, no, that's PPT. What am I talking about? 6.1 for WTEC, 6.6 for SFR. That puts them, the Finnish team, near the top of the index, so it's good for them at the moment. That is all the talking that needs to be done here. We're going to get underway for a bit of racing action right now. We return once more. We are go for Ultimate Virtual. It is back, baby. Anti up the inside of Abva going into the first corner. We're going to get a closer zoom on this and watch all the action unfold. Anti takes the lead. Abva starts on the hard compound tyres. That's going to immediately make him vulnerable to the BFX cars behind. Sobel looking to pressure Hermenica, looking to get a move done on Grandy in the background, or maybe defend the position. Sobel and Rito are going to go side by side for this one. Sobel up the inside of Abva, potentially into that gravelly hairpin, and looks like there's no real big losers from that. They all make it through pretty cleanly, but Rito on the hards up the inside of his teammate Sobel skids very wide of that final corner, and Rito gets swamped down. Hermenica, like Pack Racing, is going to make a whole lot of overtakes here and gets up basically behind Abva, but Urist, under the radar, has snuck up 4 positions at the start. Anti with a great start, and Urist completely catching the grid unawares. Incredible stuff from him. Then it's going to be Ikolowski just a little bit behind. He got the start that BAV would have wanted from him. P5 for him. Hermenica shuffled down. Well, actually, he's still in 5th position. He's battling EK4 4th at the moment. Can they go side by side through the final chicane? Although quite a wide open chicane it is. Sobel and EK flank Abva, who on the hards has just had a terrible start to this race. By lap 3, the pole sitter down to 5th position. Anti and Urist, a great combo in any context, looking to run away with this up top. Ikolowski, who's been pretty much very heavily rumoured that he won't be racing for British Aerial Virtual next season, as the team officially changes hands to Kubo come the end of the season. This is a big day for him. It's a big final few races. If he wants to stay in Ultimate Virtual, there are definite plans of retirement that we've heard whispers of. Urist goes for the move on Anti, and Urist at the end of lap 3 will take the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix at his home circuit, Minoterra, he'll be saying, and he'll be trying to take this win if he possibly can. EK still holds third. It's Sobel ahead of Hermenica. Massively dropping back has been Rito. Where is Rito? He's in P13. This is unbelievable. He had a really good qualifying. That BFX, with all of its speed, very fast over the course of a lap, but just not able to piece it together in the race. He has lost 9 positions from the grid. Incredible stuff. Jaruni has made his way up into 6th position, popping up the tokens just for a second. He's spending 2 today, so he's going to be hoping for a nice clean race and a nice strong result to put him back in good stead as he looks to close out the season. Potential rumours of a move to a team, maybe even a better team than FVR, but obviously big regulation changes coming at the end of the season. You never know which teams are going to come out on top. Last time we had this, British Aerial Virtual put their thumb on top of the league and became the dominant force in Ultimate Virtual, or Sunday League Virtual as it was then. Will we see another team find the silver bullet just as the Brits did last time around? We'll have to stick around, wait to see that, find out next season. No real battles going on in the top 8 positions. Suicide just looking to hold off Goose at the moment. Some more points for Pappy Pops would be absolutely phenomenal for the Canadian-based team. The other Canadian-based team with the Canadian owner driver, Goose, just sliding through there, and let's see if he can make up a few more positions. No tokens for him today, as we can check there. Yeah, absolutely nothing for him, so he needs to get this done on pure strategy alone. If we do just pop it up one more time, you can see that there is only 8 drivers spending tokens, and Bottas pit crew only spending 1 as well, so potentially a risk of him not scoring points. There are a few positions up for the non-token drivers to play with. Urist is into the pit lane. Where will he file out? Hopefully he'll say ahead of this pack that involves Hermenica and Abva, and he'll just come out behind Hermenica, but a lot of those cars behind all came into the pit lane. Sobel and Jaruni. Sobel out side by side with Suicide, it looks like. That is pretty disadvantageous for him. He's going to be looking to get back through as soon as he can, and he does so, and he's looking to gap the Frenchman now down the straight. Interesting to see. I think BFX will keep their driver lineup for next season, but of course with the off season just a couple weeks away, so much racing still to be done between then and now. I hope you're ready for it, because I think it's going to be absolutely cracking. Anti decides to pit a lap later, and he has been thoroughly undercut by Urist. I don't think the undercut was ever something that Urist was particularly concerned about, with his grip on the race lead over Anti following that overtake in the opening laps, but definitely Anti dropping back behind Goose is not going to advantage him at the moment. Urist still has a bit of clean air ahead of him before he catches the back of Ikolowski, currently running in the race lead, although can massively play into his hands if there were to be some rain now. Abva and Goose also yet to stop, both just sliding around on the hard compound tyres. This is of course the track that is Urist's home race. He got to choose it choose it. He also made it. He designed the circuit in Ultimate Racing 2D, used in Sunday League Season 7. Slight remodelling, bit of retexturing, but it is all pretty much as it was then now, and he gets to race it as his home circuit following his championship win last year. He's also been catching the back of EK pretty quickly. A lap ago, that gap was 2 seconds larger than it is now. Adver holds third. Sobel, after the pit stop, is in fourth position at the moment. He's actually jumped Anti, so Sobel has ran well here. We take a look at the tokens once more because I can never remember them. Sobel spending 2 tokens today, as is EK. So EK going to be hoping that he'll come out of the pit lane and make up some really good time. He's going to go on the hard, so he's looking to massively overcut a lot of people in this field. It's not worked out too badly for him. He has actually overcut Anti by a pretty good margin. Goose and Jeru side by side into the first corner. Goose on very old hard compound tyres. Jeru on not exactly fresh, but pretty decent soft compound tyres. Is going to be looking for a way through. Is this more infighting at FVR that we're seeing after Fast Fox unable to secure the JV West title? We'll have to see if the top team in the leagues can do any better than that. Pappy comes in. We're going to have some heavy rain. That's not good for the likes of Ikolowski, who have recently stopped. It's great for the likes of Adver yet to come in side by side with Anti. The front row starters go, and Adver, oh, he's had to go backwards into the pit lane, and he's had to stop, and he's had to reverse, and Anti has thoroughly blocked him off, and that has lost Adver a grand heap of time. And speaking of Grandy just gets shuffled a bit by Goose there as well, but that has been massively disadvantageous for Adver. He's been blocked off, and Eurus has stayed out. Will he continue to stay out? Because clouds are coming back. The rain is leaving. Will he come into the pit lane? Perhaps some intermediates? No. Yes. No, he will. This is going to be really interesting. He's got an early pit box, that Velocity car. They finished third in the championship last season. He's pit for wets just to cover off the possibility. I think Inters might have been the right tyre there, but whatever it is, he's done well by staying out. Stays in the lead of the race. It's Sobel Ikolowski. Despite the fact that that looked like it might not work out for him strategically, he has made his way up into third position. Despite only stopping for the hards just a couple laps before the rain came. That overcut really seemed to work nicely for him. Clean air, a massive virtue around this track. Anti looking to close a bit of that clean air and fight for that final podium spot. At the moment, it's the 3 token spending Anti, the 2 spending EK, the 2 spending Sobel, and the 4 spending Eurus at his home race. You'd have to put a heavy bet on Eurus to win this race if you were a bookie. Jaruni currently running in 5th. Adver after that botch stop from the WTEC team, blocked off by Anti, down to 6th position. That's Hetmenica, Goose, Grandy, and Apple Amazing looking to get his 5th consecutive points haul of the season. That'd be great for him, but needs more points, I think, to his name than just some P10s, because it's not looking great for him in the standings at the moment. He might need to do more dumping and less sporadic spending. Andrin already into the pit lane. The Fuerza Roca driver gambles early. Will he gamble correctly? Everyone behind him seems to be coming in now. Pit crew and Suicide, Vladinator and Pappy Eurus a lap up, also in to the pit lane, but Andrian the first to come out, and he's out on the soft compound tyres. The track is now fully dry, and Andrian will be lovely. Oh, sorry, that's Andrian will be chasing down his near namesake. Eurus comes out of the pit lane. Not quite as big a gap over Sobel as he maybe would have liked. EK also not too far back, looking for a potential podium for the British Aerial Virtual Team. Will pop up the driver standings very quickly, because you can see here 16th and 17th in the standings. Best finish of P4 for EK in France, a P4 for Mart in Malaysia, and then apart from that, P8 for EK in Monaco, P9 for Mart in France, and then 4 non-point scoring positions. No podiums for the defending Constructors Champions so far this season. EK will be using the best of that BAV boost all the way down the straight if he can. And we'll have a look a little further up. It's still Eurus who leads. We'll have a look quickly at the index scores. We've got BFX on 7.6, PRG and BAV now tied for the second best car. PRG's development has been fantastic. They are now newly tied second best, and tied 4th best is THX and Velocity. Tied 6th best is SFR and FVR. Then behind 6.1 have WTEC. Then Pappy Pops. Yeah, that makes sense. Pappy and Fuerza both behind. So that's how things shake up at the moment. We'll have a look for any close battles further down the field. It's EK closing in on Sobel. These two both on the soft compound tyres, but EK really finding the pace out of somewhere. BAV did get some decent upgrades. I think they just got the acceleration upgrade, but BFX got absolutely nothing for the Portuguese double-header, and that is going to carry over both this race and next as EK lines up a beautiful move into the Prix hairpin corner, just slides it up the inside. They're going to have to deal with the lapped car of Vladinator coming through this final corner. Lapped cars have no obligation to get out of the way, and he suddenly didn't get out of the way there. EK forced to drop back behind Sobel. They both made some really good gains on Eurus, the soft compound tyre, so much faster down the straight. As you can see there, they are flying through the corners. Sobel flies out a little bit too close to the wind there, to the sun probably, like Icarus, and EK works his way up into second place. Eurus still leads, but for how much longer? He has a very angry Costa Rican right on his tail, and if he could just stick close through the very, very tight and congested double hairpin section that Sobel takes a bit too much gravel for his own good on, and you can see the concertina effect all the way down through the final corner. But EK gets a great run, level with Eurus. Is he inching ahead thanks to those softs? He might force Eurus wide. No, he leaves him racing room on the exit. Andrews, his teammate, now a lap down, might try and cause some problems for Eurus. He does, causes him poor exit. Will he shut off the inside line here? No, he has to go to the inside into the next corner. That might disadvantage EK. It doesn't. EK still gets a good run. EK up the inside, and just as he did for Sobel, gets Eurus. Eurus with a switchback, looking for Velocity's second win of the season. Great performance in Monaco, but otherwise very inconsistent for the Velocity team. They need to get some good results here, and you can see from Eurus form so far this season, as Sobel gets past EK, you can see from Eurus form so far this season, it's only been a single podium, 2 points scoring, 1 major, 1 minor, and no points in the other race. So 2 podiums, including 1 win for Velocity, is all they've achieved on the podium this season. EK got passed by Sobel. It looks like the sustained pressure on Eurus was never going to last, and Sobel gets back through as we are now 12 minutes into this 43 lap Portuguese Grand Prix. Next race will be the Lisbon Grand Prix, and then we've got some interesting naming issues coming up for the future races, which will all share countries with other events. EK looking to come back. Look how much speed that boost gives him down the straight. Suicide might just get in the way. EK slides up the inside, and he was a lot less conservative with that move than he was previously, and yet letting Eurus have the racing room back around the outside. He absolutely sent it up the inside there. EK takes second place back in this thrilling battle, but remember that Eurus, with with pretty significantly better tyres, will be able to overcut this pair. So the more they fight and the more their tyres wear out, the worse it's going to be for these two. Anti, meanwhile, has come back out of pretty much nowhere on the mediums and gets a really nice run through the double hairpin. And Anti on the mediums, better condition than the Sobel softs, is going to take second place as EK in. Eurus came in at the same time though, so Anti leads the race. Very curious for Eurus to pit a lap early off those mediums, and Abva will take second. It is, funny enough, our front row, thanks to some hard tyre strategy choices, that have reclaimed first and second position. But how much longer will it be for? Unless the rain comes, I really can't see it being a permanent thing for the A-named drivers. Eurus with Girouni right behind. He's another to profit off not having stopped so far. He's got that track position, but he needs to turn that into final timing classification. EK still ahead of Sobel. Anti into the pit lane. That means that our new leader is Abva, but under so much pressure from Eurus, but he does get blocked off by pit crew, who rejoins the track, just merging in on the outside line. That is unfortunately the racing line into turn 1. It is tough luck. If you get a slow car coming out through there, you will be forced to lift off or take an alternative inferior line. Abva, how much longer can he hold position for? Eurus might try it up the inside here. Will he overcook it and go deep? No, he's got the grip on those fresh hard compound tyres, and Eurus will take the lead of the race back once again. But how close have the following pack be able to stick? Ikolowski on the mediums again. EK and Sobel going a step softer than Eurus this time as Abva comes into the pit lane. It's the mediums versus the hards, but them squabbling will still not help each other out too much. They've got Girouni and the lapped car of pit crew between themselves and Eurus, but Eurus has a good couple seconds. That clean air should be working out quite nicely, and that is all the virtue of just being ahead of that pack and having less traffic to deal with when coming in for the stops. Then we're going to look a little further down. No, we're not, because EK and Sobel still fighting it out here, and EK so much gravel there, so poor to take the gravelly inside line through that double hairpin. He's still going to get the run back on Sobel, though this pack's still unable to overtake Jaruni, who has been stretching these hards out as long as he possibly can. It might be time to come in for the Belarusian, because this is looking very ropey for him indeed. And all the while, this skidding around and the fighting in the background is just allowing Eurus to run and run and run further and further away. Ikoloski going to get back past by Sobel, and Sobel up the inside of Jeru. Can Jeru still fight this? Looks like Sobel might take too much gravel, but Ike's definitely taking too much gravel. Pit crew rounds into the back of him, and Anti will get a good run. We've now got a four-way fight for second place, but Jeru must be into the pits. He is. Anti behind on fresher hires, but he doesn't have the straight line speed that Ike does on the mediums. The straight line speed is given by the tyre advantage. Ike has massively dropped back from Sobel, who himself will be looking to get after Eurus a lead. Not insurmountable, but definitely difficult. However, it's definitely worked out to his advantage that the cars behind have been on the medium compound tyres and have been fighting each other rather than eating into his advantage, and not been able to make the use of those faster compound tyres. We'll have a look down the order while it's just cooled down. For the moment, EK still holds third. It's Anti behind in fourth. He's looking very good for a podium. 3 tokens for him today, if I've got that right, which I believe I do. Yeah, I do. Great. Then further down, it's going to be Hemenica, still taking 5th place at the moment. Just 2 tokens spent for him today, I believe. No, 3. Okay, 3 tokens spent. Not great stuff from him, to be honest. He would like a little bit more than a P5. Then it's going to be Abver currently taking 6th place, and I need to just keep these tokens up on the screen. This is a poor idea. Abver spending 3 tokens a day. Then we've got Pit Crew spending 1, and he is down in 13th place. That is why the 1 token spend often avoided by drivers. You can see why it doesn't tend to work that well. Jaruni now down in 7th position after having come into the pit lane after that very long stint on the hards. He's inherited 5th as Heck goes in and he overtakes Abver. Then behind in 8th place, Grandy doing well on the old hards with THX, and Apple Amazing and Goose Andrian about a pit stop behind the points paying positions. He's fighting Rito, who has done really poorly since his high start at the BFX, not the dominant car it was a couple seasons ago. It's Kubo looking perhaps for a 3rd, 13th place of the season. Suicide, then Andres, Pappy, Vladinator, Cado, and finally Fox. Eurus still leads. Ikoloski in 2nd. Sobel comes into the pit lane now. He did lose those positions on genuine merits that Anti did get back through, but meanwhile Jaruni going down the main straight. He's got a W-Tech chasing him, and he's got a W-Tech inconveniencing him, albeit a lap down in Fox's case. Fox, after that very good, strong early start to the season in 2nd place in Adelaide, has yet to massively impress since, so we'll have to see if he can back that up with anything else. This race still very much looking in control of Eurus, but of course it's never quite as certain as you might think it is. Just cast your mind back to the Polish Grand Prix last season, the Zamość race that obviously was chosen by defending champion Rito, and that was a race that looked so confident for Eurus, but a double screw up by Rain put it into the hands of Jake, and that is that was a massive point swing. 14 points in Jake's favour coming into the season finale, where they were separated by barely anything. Ikoloski will be very happy taking BAV's first podium of the season if he can hold on for just 13 and a bit more laps as Eurus comes across the line to start lap 30. Oh my god, yay, CAD has been offering me a Steam card, that's sick. And meanwhile, Anti, a lap ahead of his teammate, is going to inherit 2nd place. EK comes into the pit lane. It has been a very chaotic race for the podium so far here. EK will come out all the way next to Sobel on track. So the Sobel undercut nearly worked. He did get passed by Anti and passed by EK and drop back significantly, but the undercut, he's definitely taken tyres a lot earlier, and he's got slower tyres now as EK has to get back past Het. Will Het be passed by Sobel? It looked like it would be a late move. The Dutchmen fighting each other going into the final sector of the lap. Sobel has to get the move right here, and he does. He needs to keep it going right, and we've got a lot of cars on the gravel. Sobel and Het, not 2 of them, but Rito a lap down on his teammate now. Just might have been Jaruni very wide of that final corner, and Het absolutely soars past through. Jaruni back through again, and it's going to be Anti who comes into the pit lane now, and he's going to come out with lap traffic but no cars to battle. Het just shuffles Jaruni off the track there and reclaims 5th position. Sobel and EK, this has been a battle for the ages. We've got BFX versus BAV was a huge fight last season, although BAV looked to definitely have the upper hand, and we've got this on track once again. EK versus Sobel. This is all over third place, keep in mind, because Abfa still yet to stop on the hards. A bit of rain coming his way could put him right back in some strong contention. You just never know. This is going to be a tantalising final few laps here, as Eurus looks to desperately win the first of his 2 home races this season, the next one coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Should be a really entertaining watch. Advert still has track position, not for much longer. EK on the softs gets back through. Sobel on the mediums has done very well to stick with him, because there will be a point, probably despite Sobel's undercut, that the mediums and the softs will be about the same pace. So he just needs to stay as close to the back of that Costa Rican and the British-made car as he possibly can, and the best way of doing that would be to get past the Russian driver currently sitting in third position. Abba, of course, spending 3 tokens a day. Sobel spending 2. EK spending 2. Menica spending 3, and getting a very nice overtake done on Sobel there. He's going to try and pressure Abba, and Het sort of out of nowhere really has actually been doing really nicely. He didn't look to be in that fight for the podium earlier on, but we've got a 3-car, 4-car fight all for that third place at the moment as EK looks to run away. We've got so many going so side by side. Sobel sends a desperate lunge to the inside, gets Abba in the end. Abba's tyres have properly worn out, but Antti takes too much gravel for his own liking. Sobel has to try to the outside there, can't find a way through, goes up the inside, very opportunistic into that long swooping final corner, but gets the poor exit as Abba goes into the pit lane once more, and Goose in 10th place will unlap himself on this pack. Antti in 4th, Menica in 3rd. All this fighting has allowed EK to get away just as it did with Eurist earlier. Clean air is your best friend on this track, and any fighting will surely lead to an untimely demise, because you can see just how much time they've lost. Menica in 3rd, still fighting Antti, a good 8 seconds off the race leader, but they are still very much going at it into the double hairpin section. Antti once again, second lap running, takes too much gravel. Sobel has to try and cover off Goose behind him actually, who's looking very feisty for a re-overtake. And Menica comes into the pit lane at the moment. It's just going to be Antti edging ahead of Sobel on track here. 8 laps to go in this Portuguese Grand Prix at the Estoril circuit. Het is out of the pit lane and he's going to be out just ahead of Girouni. It's looking like a decent day for the Flying V Racing cars. It's 6th place for Jerry, it's 10th place for Goose, and Abba down at 7th, but he's got some fresh soft compound tyres, and we've got the large majority of the field on softs. It's 12 cars all slapping on the softest of the compounds. Eurus meanwhile comes out a lap ahead of his teammate coming out of the pit lane, so it's not a great look for Kubo. EK comes in, Antti will sail past, so will Sobel. Menica will be nip and tuck with him on the pit exit, but it looks like EK, yeah, there he is, we lost him for a second. Yeah, EK will be clear of Het just by a second and a half, as Het on the mediums tried that undercut and didn't quite pull it off. That huge pack fighting for the podium needs to start reassembling. But EK dropped into traffic, and this is now a much better situation for the Costa Rican driver, who was battling Sobel very much out and out for position earlier, but Sobel has got things badly wrong. Will come into the pit lane now, having already been re-overtaken by EK. Antti a bit ahead of him now has that track position. It could look very good for Menica, even for Girouni inheriting 4th place, or Abba. Literally any of these drivers, from 2nd Ikoloski, 3rd Menica, 4th Girouni, 5th Antti, 6th Abba, 7th Sobel. Any of these drivers stands a fair shot at, if not a podium, at least a very respectable top 5 finish in the league. But meanwhile, Europe's absolutely coasting out ahead. 6 laps remaining for the Portuguese man at his home track. EK lapping his teammate, or just about to at least. We've got some close fighting behind. It's Girouni, Abba and Sobel, particularly these guys. Sobel needs to get back through on the Russian racer, who is on older tyres. Girouni is in, and that counts him out of any fight for the podium most likely. He'll have to be settling for 7th place, 8th place, a while behind. Grandi inherits that, as it looks like Apple Amazing has just been overtaken due to those old hard compound tyres. It's still EK and P2 who does finally put the lap on his teammate Menica, who didn't look a likely candidate. He was looking for a disappointing 5th place, 6th place, 7th even earlier in the race, but the 3 token spenders really come to fruition, and Surist, with only 4 laps to go, 5 laps, but still with only 5 laps to go, has decided to come in. I guess maybe better safe than sorry. He had a huge advantage, nearly a pit stop, as you can see by the fact that second place is only a couple seconds ahead of him. But he still has to win this lead back on track, and Ike is not going to be coming back into the pit lane, I don't think. That would be a pretty stupid tactical decision. Eurus has to get through the lapped car of his teammate, and this throws a bit of a spanner in the works, because if he gets bogged down here, who knows what could be happening, as he has to make that 2 seconds back up side by side up the straight. The velocities go. Kubo not giving an inch to his teammate here as they head towards turn 1, and Hetmenica weirdly gaining in. Could this be a completely unexpected first race win, let alone podium, of the season for British Aerial Virtual? They are merely 3 laps away from doing it if Ike could just hold that gap, but Eurus is behind and his softs are so much fresher. Het, who has not gotten along well with Eurus on or off track in the past, tried to bring the challenge to him but just overcooked it into the gravel hairpins. His shot at second place is done, but he might just have slowed down Eurus enough, with the gap currently at 2.5 seconds for the man who looked so dominant in his home race to suddenly have that all taken away from him. Ike just a hairpin ahead of him now, and he's already gained a second back in the first sector of this lap. Ike is going to be racing what will feel like, at least for the people in the British Aerial Virtual Garage, the longest 2 final laps of his career, because they are in a totally unexpected. I mean, yes, they do have a great car. Yes, they have been underperforming this season, but they've scored 30 points in 8 appearances across 4 races. They have a chance to take 25 all in one helping here. It is less than 2 laps to go, but Eurus is so close behind the reds and black. British Aerial Virtual. Eurus has been so in control of this race, but just after that pit stop he got hung down in traffic. Will he be able to make the move work? No, he's going to bide his time and just be patient. Ike has to tiptoe through these final couple corners. Eurus gets held up, and the concertina effect will see him just fall a little bit further back. He will have a good bit of speed down this straight though. Can he use the boost to get past? Yes, he will, as we start the final lap of the race. Does Ike have anything left in the tank to fight with? Vladnator is going to just cover him off from the outside line into turn 1, and this may be that race win. Slipping away further. We've still got a fight going for the podium as Hetmenica still being chased down by the super fast car of Antti, who will no doubt have had some problems lapping up Amazing, the teammate in the Porsche car. But it has been such a valiant performance from Ikolowski. No podiums for BAV this season. That might just change here today, but nobody can argue with the dominance of Eurus. It looked in jeopardy late on, but Eurus will take Velocity's second win of the season as he wins the Portuguese Grand Prix at Estoril. Ike with a very respectable second place for him, and Antti just took the podium ahead of Hetmenica on the line. Sobel disappointed maybe with a 5th place finish. It could have been more for him. Jaruni in 6th place across the line. It will be Abva who takes that 7th position at Amazing. Won't have time to finish the race, but will just come home a couple seconds ahead of Grandi, and Goose taking the final points paying positions. We get the full results screen here. We'll take a look as Eurus, after 27 minutes and 25 seconds of racing, will win here in Estoril. Ikolowski takes a first podium of the season for BAV, and they will be celebrating that like there is no tomorrow. Maybe Eurus just providing us with a little bit of late race entertainment by taking that pit stop, but it took him all the way until there was just over a lap left of racing to go before he finally took that lead back that he had held for so much of the race. And Hetmenica will be gutted, missing out on a podium by 600ths of a second to Antti just over the line there. Sobel only 5th place for him, 2 tokens spent, but of course the likes of Porsche, BAV and Velocity all catching up this week on the BFX means that they have been put in a less strong position than they would have liked. Flying V Racing will take home a very respectable 9 points today. Eurus takes home 26 with the fastest lap, by the way. Abva takes home 6 points for WTEC Apple Amazing with another solid P8. That's 4 points for him, and the Porsche team that adds 16 to their tally for this race week. And Grandi will be the Thunderex in the points, although not the one that you'd expect. Pit Crew spending a token outside of the points, unfortunately, this race. Goose will be P10 for Flying V Racing, a minute off the race leader. Rito, after a strong qualifying, couldn't make it work in the race. P11 for him in the BFX. Pit Crew finished 12th. Andrian, 13th for Fuerza Roja. pull up the tokens for a final time, why don't we? Yeah, no tokens spent by those back markers, so it's pretty impressive to be finishing ahead of the Velocity car that also spent no tokens here today. Andres will take 15th place in the other BAV, then Suicide, followed by Vladinator, Caddo, Fox and Pappy in all Canadian last two. That has been the first race back for 2 months in Ultimate Virtual. I hope I wasn't too rusty, because all that rust should be coming right off. We've got 7 races left in the next 11 days to come. I can't wait for them. I hope you're excited too. But for now, bye bye.